Hello everybody, I am down here at the hub with Miss Lei, Mr. John.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Dane.
Alright.
Alright, so let's give people a chance to come in here. My connection to hopefully lock in here and long enough people to join us.
Green.
Yeah, we're green, but we might be like more like we're not hiding anymore because there's no more Wi-Fi over here that I can tap into. So look, Scott's watching us. So hello, Scott.
Cool. We're live.
All right. See you through the one-way camera, the one-way mirror. So hi guys. So we don't have a huge amount of volcano news for you guys today. We'll go over it a little bit here shortly, but we're going to start off today by letting Lei tell us about the events of tomorrow happening in Pāhoa town. So take it away, Lei.
Hi everyone. So tomorrow morning the parade starts at 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. and it runs from Pāhoa Street over to the high school, and then there's going to be the Kīlauea afterwards. The main event is going to be at the community center, and then there's also going to be the live entertainment at the high school, and there's a craft fair which I believe is at the church, but I'm not sure about where the craft fair is. Anyway, there's going to be all sorts of things to do, and it's going to be loads of fun, and we're already making the parade float, and everything is getting decorated nicely, so it's going to be just a really good time, and we'd love to see everybody come out because it's going to be a wonderful event.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What are the hours of the Kīlauea?
The Kīlauea is 12 to 4.
12 to 4. And so the parade goes
Until it's done, and it should be very close to the same time. So it should run all the way through from 9:30 to 4.
And if there's not, there's plenty of chance to go support Pāhoa businesses, get something to eat in between, so come check out Pāhoa tomorrow, yeah? Ikaika is going to be the Grand Marshal of the parade.
Ikaika is the Grand Marshal, and we're going to be walking. They actually separated us. The Grand Marshal's supposed to be ahead of us. Ikaika loves to walk with the parade, so he will probably be finding his way back to us most of the time. But his vehicle will be ahead of us.
Yeah, so yeah, come check us out. Yeah, we'll be in the parade. I'll be there myself. I believe John and Dane are also planning to come, of course. So come check us out. You guys can come check us out, after the parade. We'll probably be hanging about the town, going through. And along with that, I wanted to mention, my Sema Delas joined us, that we actually had today the blessing for the Pāhoa Lava Museum. I'm not sure, I should have found out exactly the official name. I think the sign that we saw said Pāhoa Lava Zone Museum.
Yeah,
Pāhoa Lava Zone Museum, I think is what it's called, according to the sign. And its soft opening is tomorrow. So after the parade, you guys can come check out the relocated Jagger displays. They've been installed. We'll be kind of spicing everything up, but it's off to a huge, amazing, great start. My Dana's done a lot of good work to put all that together, so it looks great in there. We were just over there earlier. We'll check it out tomorrow. So
and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you can come ask us questions over there. Probably tomorrow in the morning after, at least me. I'll probably try to get over there and loiter, and you guys can find us over there, around there. So come check it out tomorrow. And then from there we'll kind of. I think the museum's got to still establish exactly the hours and all that stuff. One thing they are looking for is volunteers to come in and help with the place. So if you guys want to come check out tomorrow and talk to her about volunteering as well, that would be awesome. So that's the museum part of it, the Kīlauea part of it, the parade part of it.
Look forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah, so that's what we got going on tomorrow. What should we turn to next? You guys got any?
Do we want to do the volcano part now? Or?
All right, yeah, let's talk volcano. All right, so thank you, Lei. All right, let's turn our camera around here. You're gonna come this side, all right? And let's see what we got going on here. So let's show you guys an earthquake map from the last week or so. I gotta turn it this way. Glare Dane from the angle. But there's the last 7 days of earthquakes. It's if there is any such thing as normal, that's basically what we have as what we expect around here. So there's not really anything that we haven't talked about that's worth talking about here in particular as far as this goes. More of the seismic story today, you know, is that there was an earthquake in Alaska, right? 6.7. You mentioned maybe 40 kd, something like that, and near Anchorage.
Yep, right on.
So there's some posts on Hawaii Tracker for sure. I just saw that Ryan Finley posted, made a post about that, so you guys can check that out on Tracker. As far as Alaska earthquake, it did not have an effect on Hawaii. We had no tsunami, nothing like that. We did see a little spike in our instrument. I'll show you guys later. But basically, seismically, we were pretty quiet. As far as unusual activity, right? Not quiet in the sense where nothing's happening, because the normal things are happening. That's what I mean. Yeah. So to kind of just, you know, restate them, that's the south flank kind of activity for here, the Pāhoa earthquakes, the summit kind of just been earthquakes, and the little Mauna Loa patch has been persistent actually, you know, for off and on for about a month or so. That's the earthquake story right there. Let's anything you want to add here, John, about earthquakes?
No,
No?
that's business as usual.
So here is our tilt. This is actually now looking at the USGS page, so I'll go back to the tracker here in a second, but I want to kind of just go to zoom to the last month right here. You guys can see the summit, the blue line, the pool as the green line right here, and you guys can see that we have in the last almost 3 days, or is that 3 days? 2 days. We've had slight rising. You know, looks like it's a steep rising right here, but you guys got to remember the scale. The scale is half microradian for each dotted line, so like in total 1 microradian over the last 2 days or so, something like that. Right, you know, which is, you know, something we can watch. The last time something like this happened seems to have been right in here, right? In this right part, Dane?
Yeah.
And then we had a little dip right afterwards, right in here.
Right.
So there's some patterns there. You gonna tell us, Dane, about the patterns?
Well, I mean, it's really loose, these things. It's just when in the past month, 2 months, when we've seen this type of inflation at the summit, it's usually followed by the deflation afterwards, and it comes out to like a near net zero on the summit one, where it fluctuates inflation, fluctuates deflation, but after enough time, it's just like, it hasn't really moved. It's shifting, it's settling, but there's still magma down there, but it's hard to say. It's hard to assume at this point that's going to continue. It's really hard to make that kind of assumption.
It's so far a small signal, you know. So you know, maybe we'd expect another deflation cycle. We were kind of talking among ourselves that there's more or less a loose like 10-day cycle of like there's some kind of something happens every 10 days. Yeah. But then there's occasionally things that happen in between, not on that cycle, you know. So it's actually kind of unusual for the thing to stay in a stable pattern for very long. In my experience watching this thing, like, you know, as soon as you try to pin down some kind of pattern, it's like, okay, well now I'm going to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, and that was one of the crazy things about the collapses is how predictable they were. Like the magnitude was predictable, the time was predictable.
They were very
It was just it was spooky how predictable it was.
It was as predictable as anything can get, probably in a natural chaotic system like that, right? You know, so.
The sneaky summits defying description, though. Every time we try to say it looks like it's inflating, it goes right into a deflation cycle.
Exactly.
And the last time somebody mentioned to me the summit, they're like, it's deflating. And since I heard that, it's inflating. And so it's not changing too much, but there is signs of life. You know, these deflation, inflation events didn't exist a short time ago, and now they're back. And what I'm interested in learning about is if they find any supplementary data to these events, because I was reading in different periods before and during different eruptions, some of these are accompanied by a mass increase at the summit, which suggests when this is happening, you know, we're transferring magma either coming up from depth or it's moving somewhere. So it'll be interesting if in the future, if they can determine if there's any other indication of change happening underground at the summit that might be married to some of these fluctuations we keep seeing. But overall, it's not trending in one way or another. Every time it looks like it's got a trend, it changes it again. It just doesn't want to be defined lately.
So you don't have to zoom out too much to make you kind of see this is essentially variations on a flat average, basically, right? So yeah, that's basically it. There's not a whole lot to say there, right? You know, let me switch to the tractor page, which I believe is this way, and show you guys some of the other stations that we got going on here. So, all right, there's our week-long plot of what we just looked at before. So that's the summit.
Looks like it's going up. For right now, it does anyway.
See about tomorrow.
Fooled us before, though.
So looking at just the summit station, like now we have 1 microradian intervals in our plot, right? So kind of give you an idea of the scale of this little inflation in the last couple of days here. And these other ones as well, right? So like this one over here was 1, 2, 3 microradians in scale. So these are all still, relatively speaking, you know, they're definitely measurable, but they're not huge signals, kind of like before. An escape road that's showing, you know, it's a sign of tilting to the north, mostly, right? Which is, that's a hard station to kind of determine because it's got sources possibly to its north and to its west, so it's kind of confusing, you know, exactly what happens there. Without any other information, we kind of have to just skip over it. The south flank, Muli by Opele, you know, it's been kind of hard to read this station. But one thing that I've kind of noticed is that you can kind of tell that the inflations actually correspond to like the small peaks here, right? So, you know, if you have a deflation happening during a daytime signal, that signal ends up being dampened. So this was a inflation event here, and then, you know, there's kind of a tiny one over there that corresponds there, and then, you know, who knows what's happening the next one, but like that's still nothing to learn really there. It's just interesting to kind of tie these patterns together. And there's Pāhoa, you know, there's been a little more variability, whether it's from a daytime cycle or what other source, I'm not quite sure, but, you know, that's happening slightly more.
And overall, the rate of inflation has decreased at Pāhoa. Looks like it's come up less than 4 microradians this month. The previous 2 months was quite a lot more like microradian gain. We had like 12 in 1 month, and similar the month before. So it's not as rapid a change happening there as it was a short time ago.
Right. Yeah, so that's noteworthy. And looking at the Jonica station, it is now tilting towards the southeast, it looks like now. So that is, you know,
that is a change.
So you can kind of see that here is like the kind of very slight uphill trend, then kind of a flat trend, and a slight downhill trend kind of.
And look at that, there's a little mark from the Anchorage earthquake on there. Yeah, that's interesting. They show up at Jonica and the summit.
It's like a crapshoot whenever we get one of those faraway earthquakes. What will it resonate on? And on the seismic, it's
right in there, guys.
Right there.
Yeah, that thing right there.
From Alaska. Yeah. Interesting.
That one shows up on the summit station too. We'll back up here. So there it is on the summit station. Not quite as clean. Catching more of the true wiggle probably in there, yeah. So looking at the GPS, you know, I'm not going to go into detail all the different stations, but I just wanted to look at maybe the top 2 differences, right? And so you can kind of see our patterns are still, you know, nothing's really changed here, which is probably the important thing. You know, here's maybe a sign of, you know, the summit spreading due to magma intrusion. It could be spreading due to something else as well, but, you know, there's a slight spreading happening at the summit, which is different since the eruption ended, right? And looking at the rift, across the east rift near Pāhoa, it's hard to tell what's happened at the very end, but if anything, it's accelerated downwards slightly, faster, yeah. So it's definitely still coming together, contracting, you know, as if it's like continuing a long exhale in a sense, right? It's still kind of just closing together, right? Those stations coming closer together. So, and that's the GPS story, and you know that's basically the same thing I've been saying. Not all the time, right? There've been little variations. We've kind of been taking everyone through on the ride, right? But you know, any other insight we can add here today?
Yeah, I mean, similar trends that we've been looking at. If anything, the changes in the midriff seem to be slowing down a little bit recently. So same trends are continuing, but they're slowed down from what they were in the recent past. It's the only thing I can really notice.
And then Jonika's changed basically at the further down. Oh, you can see it. We'll show it on the GPS.
Yeah, let's
Still that little bit of looks there. We have this. Is this the one with the blip? Yeah, that little guy right there. And we've had a few where it's kind of outside of its norm,
noisy.
and it turns out just to be pretty much noise. So it was looking pretty flat until that little guy showed up. So it's kind of, we got to wait a few days, figure out if it's trying to inflate vertically, or if it's
noise.
flat, or if it's truly noise. Or right now I'm betting noise.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say right now with just that one dot.
Yeah.
But
The trend is more evident over time
Yeah.
with GPS, so we just watch it for a while, see
Yeah.
what it looks like over the weekend.
yep. And then basically that's really the only story is the Pāhoa still got action, but further down the rift not so much. GPS at Leilani, I haven't seen any changes in it when I check it.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like we've covered the kind of the pillar cornerstones, right? We mentioned the gas has been measured, but we don't have any new instruments, and it's still very low, right? The earthquakes are normal. There's no signal from the GPS or the tilt that there's anything coming to the surface very quickly anywhere. So if there is signs of things happening underground, how deep is, we're not quite clear exactly, but it's, it's geological depths, we're not sure if it's 3 kilometers down or 5 kilometers down necessarily, but it's all deep down enough for people that, for us living at the surface, it's not of, immediate concern. The concerns that we have living in a volcano are always still here, that still exists. That hasn't changed. We're kind of back to that kind of, status of operation, right? So yeah, that, unless you guys have any more a little bit of science you guys want to add to here, that can
I wanted to mention about the gas, the gases are measured to be very low, and that is a continuing theme. So the gases are less and less, but that also means you might notice them less often. So when you haven't been noticing them and then you notice them one night, it's still probably a really small amount of gas. It's just you caught a whiff of it. And so I've had people calling me is something happening? We smelled more gas last night. And rest assured, I think it's easier to react to them now that we're not smelling them very often. You notice it more. So just keep that in mind. The gas is really low.
And if the winds change, then people that don't get the gas, hey, you might catch a whiff of it. I was stinky at my house last time a few days ago. Went outside. I'm like, so what's the winds doing? Oh, they're blowing directly to the north.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right at you.
Yeah, right at me. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, and then this amount of steam you get is just highly dependent on the current weather and the weather over the past day, basically. Has it been raining? What's the humidity? How cold is it? How close is that to the dew point? You weigh all those things out, and then yesterday, practically no steam. It was like the least steam I've seen in months, coming from Fisher 8 to all the way down the eruption to about Fisher 3, so Kaupili. It was just barely any steam. I go out there today, much more muggy, different temperature, and it was steaming like crazy. So it can change, and it doesn't mean anything other than the weather's changed.
It's not a change in activity.
Yeah, it's not a change in activity. Same goes for the summit. If it's steaming heavy and you can't see it, it just means basically, hey, it's morning time, basically.
Yeah.
It's a rainy day. It's gonna be muggy. There's just too many weather factors to really glean anything off of the steam volcanically, other than, yes, there is magma down there.
Yeah, heat's coming out. Yeah.
Heat is coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because there have been some reports from people going by the summit. So they see the big gas cloud at the summit, and that's been happening every day. It's normal. There is heat coming out of the ground. The gas, even 25 tons of SO2 that we're like, oh, that's nothing. it's still not nothing. It's enough.
25 tons, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just the sulfur, right? Not the heat that's driving it out of there. So that's enough to form its own little cloud. A cloud forms and it changes shapes and it hangs there. And if there's no wind anywhere to move it, that cloud can grow like a giant mushroom above the thing. So first thing in the morning, I'm driving my kid to school. I look up right up the highway lava, and there's a I don't know, it looks like a 3,000 foot tall cloud rising from the crater. It's don't freak out. It's just the regular everyday steam cloud, right? I mean, if that thing was like dark gray, I would be freaking out. But it's normal white color. That's everyday.
It's interesting to me how Pu'u'o steams. So let's just say that Pu'u'o steams pretty heavily too.
Yeah.
But when it tries to steam like that, it normally just covers itself in a cloud, and then you just can't see the thing at all.
Right.
So it's interesting how at the summit it comes up and it's all visually spectacular, whereas Pu'u'o is doing the same thing, but it just disappears.
Right.
It's like, okay, we'll try again tomorrow.
Right.
We'll see if you're visible at all.
You said it though, for sure. It's spectacular. I was just up in the park again today, and there is a lot to see up there. The crater, the new crater, is amazing with the steam, the clouds forming. It's totally beautiful. It feels totally alive. So go check it out if you're on the island. It's an amazing place, and there's a lot to notice. It's still steam active, just not lava active. So it puts on quite a show through the day watching the crater. It's beautiful.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, check it out, you guys. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think I may actually have a time-lapse video of some steam cloud formation that I never posted. I can try to post that one.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, I'll try to post that for you guys. Sooner than later. But anyways, yeah, that's our PA announcement for steam clouds and steam in general, right? It is impressive, especially going by the summit, especially if you've never seen it before and to wonder if that's normal. And it is normal. There is stuff coming out of there. It's just it doesn't take a whole lot of heat to make a huge cloud, basically.
And
That's
it's beautiful. It's really
Yeah.
beautiful. So the new normal is beautiful. Go check it out.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And not that gassy. It's normal, yeah.
And the thing about it is it changes pretty quickly up there too, especially morning time. You can be up there and it's totally fogged out. You can't see anything, and then half hour later, hey, guess what? All the clouds are going away.
Everything
Now you
looks
can see in
soft.
the crater, and you get then another hour, and it's like, okay, there's none. There's no steam, and it just changes on a dime. So even if you get up there and it's not appealing, go to the Viz for a half hour, check out Volcano House, go back and check it out. It might be ready to go at that point.
Yeah. I've always thought of that as a form of a life of the place, right? You see it changing, and you see the air, the breath come and go, so to speak, right?
Right.
It offers you a glimpse and then hides, and it's teasing.
It's magic.
I'll show you now. No, I won't show you.
Yeah.
So it's definitely interesting.
Pretty cool.
Even with weather, it's awesome to experience how that affects the experience for sure.
It's amazing up there. Totally amazing.
So, in fact, we'll probably do I'm not sure exactly when, but we'd like to do a broadcast up in the park at some point, maybe with some of the park guys, at some point, if you guys have any questions you guys are dying to hear or ask, the interpretive staff at the national park, not including the current former interpretive staff in the park.
Yeah. Not actually a ranger.
But as good as one, not better. In any case,
Access.
that's next on the agenda. Okay.
So this breaks down into a few parts. So start down Po'iki. Down, there's a gate up blocking at McKenzie. That gate will be open to residents starting on the 3rd, December 3rd, and it will be open, I think, 9 to 5, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then it will open publicly on the 6th of December. The county is down there at Po'iki trying to get everything ready. So they're putting lifeguard stations down there. I saw a backhoe going in there this morning. So they're definitely putting in some work down there to get ready for basically tour visitors and reopening the beach, the new beach down there. So, that's in play. One interesting thing I saw down Po'iki today was the military was flying 3 Osprey chopper plane things, those plane chopper hybrids. 3 of them. all in like a little pack coming around Po'iki, just beating down the coastline. It was truly a trip to see, just out and about. And we've seen them before down Po'iki, but not 3 of them, you know. And then we didn't know there was that many of them here. But we think that they're here for military exercises on the other side of the island. And they kind of did this last time too, when they were over there. They were on Kona side in Waimea for something, and they were doing some show and tell over there with some of the students from the local schools, and you know, let them just come see it. And then they flew it over here twice, the Osprey then. So now we have 3 of them coming, so they brought the whole pack out from Oahu, it sounds like to me. So that's the Po'iki situation, you know, rough overview of that. But,
So we're basically there's tourists already flying over, right? For them out there. Okay. So
Yeah.
back to regular program. So
yeah, and then like the things about Po'iki that are going to be different is, you know, there's going to be basically porta potties is going to be the sanitation. No running water. The water pipes are far from being able to be repaired. Those things used to run down Po'iki Road and now sit under a mile or 2 of lava. Not a good spot for them.
So horizontal mile, not a vertical.
Yeah, not a vertical mile, horizontal mile.
yeah, there's a mile missing with it.
Yeah, a mile missing of that pipe, and they even reestablished it at one point and ran some temporary pipe down there, then that got covered too. So there's no way to really get that water situation handled easily. The currents out there are stronger than they used to be. It's a lot rawer. You're more out in the deeper water, the old deep water, so it's more exposed. It's not Kaimu. It's not that bad. It's not that crazy, but it's not the old Po'iki where it's nice and calm and, you know, friendly. It's a little more violent in that water now. I've seen plenty of kids down there having fun, no problem. So it's not like avoid at all costs, but it's just, you know, be careful out there.
Right. Although there are the ponds that are not disinfected. Do you want to?
Yeah, those things are questionable at best right now. I've seen people swim in, they say they're fine, but I have fire stipulate. I got MRSA from Secrets down surfing down there, and that was doctor informed me from the warm pond basically, and that whole area has MRSA too. So it's just, I don't play around with stagnant water nowadays. So I'm not going in that. But I've seen people in there and they come out and they say they're fine. And I've heard of infections at the Polo Clinic caused by, you know, guys walking out there, especially when it was the old trail and you're walking across the you get a little cut, nothing major, but you get in that and then it's, no good. So, you know,
Yeah, definitely with cuts, gotta be careful.
yeah, open wounds at those ponds I think should be avoided. Otherwise, if you're susceptible to ear infections, don't go in, but you'd probably be fine.
So I talked with the Kaika last week about the residents. So we had
Yeah.
heard something about the residents getting in slightly earlier.
Yeah, December 3rd.
December 3rd. Okay.
Yeah, that's the December 3rd one.
Yeah.
And
Clarify
9 to 5, and then 9 to 5 I think for the December 6th one too. So moving on, then we got Leilani. There's the lawsuit that the association has put in play to try and extend the checkpoint. Basically, that's one of the things they're trying to get. The county extended the checkpoint to the 5th or 6th. They put out a newsletter today saying the 5th, that it's extended at least 2. So that's in lieu of any decision from a judge about the lawsuit that would extend it potentially further. The county has put up some pretty intricate signs on the very end of Leilani. We actually got a picture of that one that Philip will pull
Hold
up.
on a second. Let me get the sleigh.
That's not it. It's the plot of that. Yep.
Summit.
So these are the new signs. Restricted area, no drop-offs. And they have the Hawaii Revised statue in there. And no parking signs. No hiking. Don't look at it. You know, there's a little bit of everything in that one. Oh, stop it. And then So they went in and put all those signs up today. Those are new, and they put some up at the top. The idea is that it will be Leilani Avenue will be opened on the 6th, basically. Yeah, and these are the new signs. Oh, cannot get it to. Oh, come on. Yeah, so this one will probably come down. But residents only, no through traffic, dead end. Pretty straightforward. So there's gonna be parking in Leilani, there's not gonna be any. The associations, everything but Leilani Avenue is private roads, private land, private, all of that stuff. So the only thing public is going to be the road itself, which just runs down dead ends, and there's no real place to get a view even, unless you're walking out, and then you're subject to all the stuff that's on the signs. So that's going to be, the access towards Leilani, what's going on there. So we'll see if the lawsuit has anything, or if the county just goes ahead and does what they're going to do anyways.
Right. But there'll be more news as far as a lawsuit after the 3rd.
Yeah, at least the lawyer for Leilani has until the 3rd to compile more information and get it to the judge to be able to make a decision by the 6th. So
Gotcha.
That's basically the rough timeline there.
For the next chapter in this story.
Yeah, the next chapter. So then we go down to Highway 132. There's a good amount of pressure by residents in the Kaipuka, locals that have lost land, Stanford. Decent amount of pressure to try and reestablish Highway 132 from the Y down to Four Corners area. It's a tall task, but it's a possible task. It's doable. Talking to Les Pedersen, our resident road construction expert, this is in play. This is doable. Even if it's hot, you go in there, you go up, you clear up to it, and then you just, it's hot. We'll wait. We'll come back in 2 weeks and see how it is, and try again.
Let it cool off. Yeah, peel off some layers.
Peel off some layers.
Faster.
Yeah, and it cools off faster. And he was saying it was days to weeks, not months, for that cooling process under those situations when they did Chain of Craters in the 80s. So it's possible. The details of it, it's going to be a logistical, nightmare to pull off, but definitely doable. Problem right now is that there's no alternative access route. That's not in play. Landowners that have the egress into that to try and make a alternative access are wanting the county to do Highway 132 with fears that if they make the alternate route that the county can just pawn it off on them, and then there is no 132 again. And the thing about 132 is it needs to be done under this emergency proclamation. If it's going to get done, it has to be done like that, because otherwise we're talking about building to code. And to code, that road, the lava is considered fill, so it has to be removed and taken down to grade. That is so much harder than just trying to pay or just run a D10 on top of it. It's a night and day difference in terms of money, time, feasibility, and people even attempting it. So whatever has to happen on 132, it needs to happen before that proclamation ends. And the latest we've heard is Harry Kim has not decided if he's going to extend the proclamation again. So that's one of the big concerns I have with that is if it doesn't happen now, then it just really less likely to happen anytime in the next year, 2 years. Like to grade, to code, that's going to take a long time. That's not a joke.
That's crazy that they consider lava fill. I mean, that seems something we need to change somehow. I mean, but that's the root of the whole issue, right? I mean,
yeah, I'm still
crazy law
complete
that
sure on how that's
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how coded that is, or how true that whole on the books and the law, how true that is, or how hard it would be to change, or anything along those lines.
If anybody knows anything about that, let us know, right? Like, how can we change that silly rule, right? That's causing us to jump through all these crazy hoops.
Right. So I mean, that's the rough rundown of access right now. So there is no access into the 132 Kaipuka. People have been hiking in from different areas, landowners.
Yeah, or flying in by helicopter with sling loads. You've heard about that as well. Not recently, but
not recently. They've kind of, one of the things that I've been hearing is that there's been they don't want to fly in gasoline anymore, and that hurts guys that are out there running generators and trying to live in that kaipuka. And there's a few homeowners trying. Like they're there. They've been there. So it's a struggle, that whole thing. You know, feels really bad, especially for some of the other kaipukas, because I know eventually there's going to be access reestablished to 132 to that kaipuka. I'm sure of it. It's a question of time and where and how. There's other places though, like the Kahukai Hill in Leilani. There's 5 houses up there on that thing, totally isolated with long distances of lava on every side, and crossing the channel and everything bad you could think of. Those are harder places, and you know, I don't know what the future of those places are. If somebody gets in a road, if they're, you know, that's got to be really hard. So for those homeowners, so it's hard not to, you know, can't forget about, you know, just because they're not part of the biggest kaipuka, they're still in one of those kaipukas, and being in one of the bigger ones or near Pohikis probably gets you the access sooner.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, you know, the county has not in the past like made access to these places, right? Think about Royal Gardens. Royal Gardens sat there cut off for decades, right? Like, you know, and you know, famous Lava Jack used to ride his dirt bike across the flow field, and like that's the extreme he would go to because no one else would do anything for him. Yeah, right. Load your backpack with you know, all your supplies, get on your off-road bike. That's what he had to go through for years and years and years to keep that.
Yeah, but the lava was erupting in that neighborhood the whole time. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
it wasn't in the neighborhood the whole time.
But I mean, that neighborhood was threatened by that same eruption, which was continuously erupting that whole time. So, I mean, it's hard to justify building roads when the lava is still flowing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just historical difference between this situation and the last one.
Another thing about these roads,
Like the Poiki Road, it's called cold planing. That process, and that's just how they make that material. It's basically crushed up old asphalt that they're reusing. But what it does is it creates a road that can move with the changes and the settling and all the different things that, you know, we can expect following all this flow, and even just the flow down Poiki, that thing's still gonna settle, and it's still hot, surprisingly hot down there. Like, I caught heat shimmers down there today, and I was just like, man, I wish I had my thermometer on these, because it's rare to see heat shimmers like that I was seeing. So they're still hot, it's still but the road that they've chosen to do in that situation was the right choice, and that would be the type of road that would go in if there were to redo 132. That's how they would do it, and under their emergency proclamation, they'd do it basically the same way. It's just, you know, it's a harder difficulty setting is all it is. This one's hard mode. Poiki was 132 was a little bit easier than that one.
So there is our continuing discussion of access and roads that kind of followed our science discussion, that followed our parade introduction, and maybe we can finish it up and bring it back to the beginning and something else to add. So let's turn it back to you.
Where am I? Here I am. I just barely heard that on December 19th at between 5 and 7 p.m. at Uncle Robert's, there's going to be a gift giveaway, and in prelude to that, anybody who would like to drop off a gift at Uncle Robert's up till that time, that present will be given out on the 19th between 5 and 7 p.m. Sounds like a wonderful thing for the kids.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so yeah, come join us tomorrow for the parade, 9:30 in Pāhoa town. You know, then we'll be at the museum and loitering around the town afterwards. So come see us then.
Fun day.
Yeah, and until then, from our crew over here, stay classy.
Stay classy, Puna.